I don't think there's anyone here that doesn't get broken open when you are in the magnificence of God's expression. Whether it be in song, if it be in nature, if it be in the intimate connection of love. That power, when it's expressed, reminds us that there's something greater at work always. And that power that created the magnificence of the universe is the same power in us. How does it feel to say, we can say how great thou art. How about if we said how great I am? What would that feel like? Would it feel like the truth? Or would it feel like, oh, I can't say that. I can't say that. That would be being conceited or egocentric or full of myself. But if we really think about it, we teach and practice every single Sunday that life, God, great wisdom, infinite intelligence, unrealized potential is all there is. There is only one of which we are a part. So my wish for each and every one of us is that we don't have to say how great thou art. We can feel it, how great I am. But when we get towards the end of our life experience, this precious journey we have in this human vessel, that we can say, you know what? I was here and I made a difference. I was here and I was able to move past those things that Marianne was talking about this morning, the limitations, the small thoughts, all of that, to stand into a greater expression of myself. The theme for this morning is there's a champion within us. There's a champion within each and every one of us. A goodness, a possibility that is calling to be expressed. Well, first of all, champion has two different meanings, and we need to understand that to know really when there's a champion within us, what the whole spectrum means. A champion, and I'm sure you all have champions in something that you love to cheer for or root for, or yay, go, go. A champion is a winner, and it shows us the possibility. I love to watch the Olympics because I get to see the possibility of the human body and what it can do. I love to watch So You Think You Can Dance. As I watch people stretch themselves and do things you can't even imagine, and they say, oh, I never even imagined I could do that. I love to watch things like that, and I get the God bumps because how great thou art. It's the same possibility in us, a winner. But the other definition of champion is a verb. It's a verb. We champion someone who fights for you, who supports you. A champion. I champion peace. I champion love. I champion whatever. It's a verb, an action, supports and fights for you. And I believe that champion within us is to do both things. To recognize and own the power and presence of God that's in us, say spirit, doesn't matter what you use, power and presence of life that's in us, that's ever urging us, and that's the support part, to be more than what we have been. Because life is evolutionary. And there's a power within us that keeps wanting us to live in a consciousness, I was here. I was here. Remember, in the mind of God, there is no size. God plays no favorites. It doesn't matter how big or small this goodness and difference you made. It can be one person. It can be thousands and thousands of people. It doesn't matter. We're here to make a difference within ourselves and with this consciousness that we call life. Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. How great thou art. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all else will be added. Put God first. Put love first. Put possibility first. Put creative potential first. Put that, whichever definition you have, first, and all else will be added. I know. There's those of you that say, well, where is the kingdom of God? And we say the kingdom of God is within. And that sounds, again, puffed up, could be a little egocentric. A lot of religions could never say that. Because, well, if people find the kingdom of God within, why are they going to need religion? And so the dogma keeps the lid on things. But for me, when you and I recognize our potential, our goodness, can you imagine the miracles we can create together? When we move from limited thinking that keeps us stuck. When we move from the smallness that keeps us thinking we can only do so much. Ernest Holmes said we are to speak into, teach to, live into the unrealized potential that's part of each and every one of us. We're to live into that. So the question is, well, how do we get there? Well, I know the thing that keeps me small sometimes is getting distracted by the things of the world. The things in the world can be distracting. It can be the things we want and we don't have, or think we need that we don't really need, or it can be people that distract us. And we can try to conform to what is instead of being a greater expression of our own truth. Well, it's the mystics that really got that we're to live into this greatness. Ralph Waldo Emerson, a 19th century transcendentalist and mystic, wrote a whole work on self-reliance, how we're to step away from the conformity, the herd mentality, and really live from the inside out. He had a poem. Part of his work was a poem, and I'd like to share. I just picked some lines out of this beautiful work on self-reliance, really owning who we are, living into the champion that we're meant to be in our own life. He said, God dwells in thee. Give up to thy soul. Let it have its way. It is, I tell thee, God itself. The self-same one that rules the whole. Therefore be great, not proud, great. Do you hear the difference? We don't have to be proud if we're not trying to serve something or be superior and make a difference, but be great. And it was the same mystical energy earlier than that, the 13th century Sufi mystic who said, oh, how cute that, how cute that is, who said, and we have a slide for this one, it said, Rumi said, everything in the universe is within you. Ask all from yourself. But we have to tap into that inner goodness first. Jesus had a great metaphor about doing our inner work. In Jesus' time, there were two main sects of Judaism, ruling parties, the Pharisees and the Sadducees. The Pharisees were vocal, influential leaders. They said they believed in the Old Testament and followed God's rules. Yet they didn't follow all of God's rules, sort of the easy ones, and left the harder ones behind. And they really put a lot of focus on being clever and wise. And they thought they were really superior, many of them, to others. Not all the Pharisees, but some. And they really took pride in their dress, how they looked. And they were fastidious, almost compulsive about cleanliness. And the leaders of the Pharisees didn't like Jesus. They didn't like his teachings. But Jesus, too, was vocal. And he challenged their hypocrisy. And what he said is he equated this to a cup. And he said, oh, you Pharisees, you clean the outside of the cup and the outside of the dishes. Yet inside you are filled with greed and wickedness. Clean the inside of the cup, and the outside will be clean too. And that's the work that you and I get called to do. We're on this great journey of self-discovery. And as from the ancient Greeks and the Oracle of Delphi, when it said, know thyself, this journey of self-exploration has been a long time. What is the inner work all about? The inner work is about consciously transforming yourself into a better version of yourself, into the next greatest version of yourself. The inner work always includes self-exploration and figuring out How aware am I? How awake am I to this beautiful world in which I live? How much do I allow my mind to be open to new possibilities? Am I rigid and stuck? Do I build walls? Or am I open? You know, if we, and everybody wants more, something part of this. Prosperity, health, love, creative expression. We all want some part of that in our life because there's that urge of us to grow. But we can't possibly expect to have more prosperity in our life if inside our cup are thoughts of lack and not enoughness. We can't possibly have a consciousness of health in our life if inside of our cup is sickness. We can't possibly have creative expression in our life and manifest it if in our cup inside we feel we're not worthy, we're not good enough, we're not talented. We got to be cleaning that inside of that cup and clean out all those false beliefs so we can understand there's something more that wants to express through us. So self-exploration, definitely. And we have to be willing to stretch and grow and make mistakes. Life gets messy. You know, have you ever left a coffee cup or a soup bowl out for a while and then used it again? And then, it gets all cruddy inside. You know, we have to do the work to clean it out. We got to be cleaning this out. Because if you and I aren't willing to stretch and grow into something more, we'll stay with the herd. We'll stay with the herd and keep ourselves small. So we need to be willing to do the work. We need to be willing to stretch and grow and let go of the past. I know a lot of us like our stories. But if you haven't noticed, life keeps bumping you in the face, reminding you need to heal those things. You need to heal those things, and it keeps bumping into you, and it gets messy. Does anybody know that? Is anybody living that right now? A few little things coming up and going, you got to heal that, you got to heal that. You know, if we don't heal our past, it's going to keep us limited and stuck in the old and what is. I read a great line from our Beautiful Science of Mind textbook, and it says, the past. Now, I'm not talking about those beautiful memories that we love to just cherish. I'm talking about the past problems that make us feel not good enough or small. The past is swallowed up by the victory of a perfect present. Don't you love that? I just love that. So if you and I are willing to be fully immersed in this present moment, fully available to the good that's awaiting for us, be fully present in, yes, I own this limitation I have. That's self-awareness, and I'm ready to let it go. And if we're not, it's going to come and hit us in the face. I know I had a great opportunity to deal with something this week, and I feel so much I did. But boy, it takes strength. It takes focus and willingness and the courage to do what needs to be done. So, where do we find what inner work needs to be done? Where do we find what greatness is ours to reveal and share? And it comes, there's nothing greater we can do, no mental activity we can do that's greater than listening to the inner voice, the indwelling presence of I am. Now, I don't know what you walked in here with today. I don't know what situations or experiences you're dealing with or in your life, but God is always God. No matter what the experience is, no matter what's going on in your life, God is always God. There's a place in us, no matter what the experiences are, that knows our true self. And we need to listen to it. We need to remember and listen. That still small voice. So I'm going to, right now, if you'll just unwrap yourself, just put your feet on the floor. And I've shared this practice, this simple practice I do most every day or every other day. But just melting in, letting go, having faith in the good that's ever present, having faith in the good that surrounds us and fills us, the spiritual essence that's part of all life, just letting go. Feeling us in this moment that we are surrounded by God's infinite and unconditional love. We are loved no matter what. And just clearing your mind and opening your heart and asking the question. And the question can come in different packages, of course. But the question, if it's only what is God's highest vision for me today, just this day? What am I to do from the higher place this day, the higher mind? What am I to do this day so I can really live in the greatest expression of myself? Some days, my gosh, it's something very simple, and other days it's bigger, but what is God's highest vision for my life this day? And then, of course, knowing we have the work to do, what do I need to let go of? What old thought, what old experience, what past idea do I have to let go of? And what do I need to become, to stretch into, to let this goodness, this gift be expressed this day? So just rest in that for this moment. Just what good is being called to be expressed this day? And just be aware for this day. Now, if it's a bigger idea and something bigger is calling you from inside, it's what's God's highest vision for me now? And it can be something bigger. That's how the healing ministry was born. You know, what is the highest vision for this InSpirit Center this year? What is the vision? And that still small voice is always there. It is always there. It's can we listen? Can we hear? It's the place that is untouched by any problem or any difficulty. It's that inner voice that is the key to prosperity, the key to health, the key to loving relationships, the key to creative potential. Now, I need to share with you, this day I did get a little roadblock that hit me pretty hard. And I was like, whoa. And I wasn't able to really get myself centered. So I called a practitioner and just said, I need some help. Somebody bigger than I was in the moment, consciously, that could see bigger than the picture. Just, wow, okay, great. Oftentimes we need to lean on someone else in order to get the problem solved. If we depend on just ourselves all the time, we're being very self-contained in not the best way. We need to open to the greater experience and the greater opportunity. We have practitioners available every Sunday. We have our prayer room open. If there's anything weighing on you, please seek a greater experience. Our beautiful Rumi, 13th century mystic poet again, he talks about the two intellects. And, you know, I just want to say that the Spirit of God is available always. The good is available always. The consciousness is our job, to align our consciousness with all that is good and true and clear out all that old stuff that keeps us separated from that good. It flows through us. The good is always there. So before I talk to you about Rumi, I just want you to say this. Any limiting experience in my life right now has no power. Has no power. Has no power. I have faith in the law of good. And I expect the best right now. And so it is. How hard is that to do? How hard is that to do? To remember that whatever's limiting in our life right now, yes, it has a teaching for it. Yes, there's a lesson for us and everything. Nothing comes uninvited. But it doesn't have the power itself. We give it the power. So if we right now have the faith in the law of good, there's always good wanting to emerge. Sometimes it's messy and painful and not so fun. But it's always a law of good that wants to be expressed. It's our responsibility to be able to say, you know what, that limitation doesn't have any power over me. I'm in the experience, but I have the power to change my mind. Remember, A mind and heart filled with lack and limitation and not good enough and unworthiness is not going to manifest the joy. Oh, what am I to learn from this? What possibilities is this offering me? There's something wonderful waiting to be revealed. Doesn't that feel a little bit better? Good. Just checking, because I have a lot more work to do, and we only have a few more minutes, and I'm just about done here. So, good. Yes is the answer. Yes. So, if we're going to say, I was here, it means we chose the intellect of goodness. Now, the two intellects Rumi talked about, there's one intellect that we learned from those books Jen was talking about. And you know what? Jen, I don't know if you don't like to read. Jen has a law degree. How do you get through law school without reading books? I don't know. That's still, you're gonna have to tell me about that. But anyway, so those books, we learn from the intellect. We learn from science. We learn from reason. We learn from practice and repetition. But that intellect, as soon as we stop, it dries up. It's the intellect from the outside in. But the other intellect is God's gift. And it's the fountainhead of spirit that flows through us, that allows us to know what we need to know, that allows us to be inspired to get the information we need to get. It's the intellect of God. So in order for you and I to really say, I was here, we have to believe that we're a champion. There's a champion in us and a champion for us that's pushing us to our greatest yet to be. We have to believe that we can make a difference by uplifting and caring for others. We have to believe in ourselves. We have to believe in the infinite power of God's good and know there's a place in us that's always wanting us to move to a greater expression. So I just want you to say, in this moment, I just want you to just say, I was here. I made a difference. I'm part of the ever-expanding good. Well, you could do this because it's really fun. I mean, it sort of takes the lid off things. Woohoo! Part of the I love that. We're kind of like the wave or whatever it is. That was good. Part of the ever-expanding good. Oh, how good it is. How good I am. And look at the person next to you and just say, and how good you are. And I'm just going to close by saying, I am so glad that you were here. Part of an amazing group of people I know that are making a difference in this world. I just say thank you. And so it is. Thank you.